Hi, welcome to the Take a Break and Create a Craft Along, and we're going to be looking at the needle felted cat. So really cute project, this one. You can see lots of detail on it, and I'm going to take you through step by step how you do this. What you're going to need first of all is you're going to need those polystyrene shapes. Now you'll have a circular one, so you'll have a ball, and then you'll have an egg shaped one. What you need to do is cover both of those shapes in some of the roving that you get within the kit. So these are a combination of grey and white, and if I just flip it over there, you can see you've got white for the face. Now you do have a template for that, so you'll create that kind of shape on the face, and then you've got a chest shape there, which is this little kind of egg-shaped one here. That's what you're going to replicate on there. So you can create those as flat pieces like I showed you in the how-to video, the kind of basics video. You can create them there and then add them onto the polystyrene, or you can add it straight into the polystyrene if you're confident enough to do that. So from here you've got your ball on the top and you've got your body at the bottom. Now these have been joined together, as you can see here. There's a cocktail stick in between the two pieces, and then I've created him or her, we don't know yet, a little scarf of excess roving, and this then just gets felted into place. So we'll wrap that round, and the cocktail stick will help stop everything moving, especially for the first time round. And you're going to go down into one side and you're going to go up into the other side, working your way all the way around. Don't go too deep for this, because remember you've got a cocktail stick in there and you don't want to be hitting that with your needle. And you're just going to take it all the way around, putting one on top of the other, and that's what's going to create your join between those two balls. Now what I would maybe pay attention to is obviously keep them straight and make sure both of these pieces are facing the front as well, because what you don't want to do is have them kind of on a wonky angle. Oh, I mean, you could give him lots of personality by making, turn his head if you wanted to. It's entirely up to you. In fact, I have just turned his head, so there we go, because there's a cocktail stick in the middle, so I can I've got a little bit of a movement in there until I kind of get all the way around. So I'm just going to take a second to felt all of this into place. That was quietness for speeding up. Okay. Then we're going to have a look at the face here. So the face, as you can see, I've already had a bit of a go at this one with a cocktail stick, but on that face template that you've got, you can see there's a little two little dimples where it comes in on either side. Where that happens, you want to first of all just push in with your thumbs, and what you'll find that does is, if I just turn it on the side for you, can you see how it's created a face shape within there? So you're just going to push really hard into there, and then take your cocktail stick, few stabs, and then a bit of a wiggle around in both sides, because you need to create holes that are big enough to slide in your eyes, and you're going to push these right the way in. I like to put the eyes in first, because then I think that helps guide you when you're putting in the other features, and already just by adding the eyes it's got a lot more personality. So now I'm going to talk you through all the extra bits that you're going to need, because you will need to create some sausage shapes, some flat pieces, some obviously you've done the polystyrene pieces, all the bits that we showed you in the basics. You need to use those skills to create the shapes that we're going to add on to the cat. So what I've got here is a little template, and I've got all the pieces ready made here, but I will show you kind of how we've made them. So you've got the ears there. These are flat pieces which were made exactly the same way as the pieces that we showed you in the earlier basics video, and then from there there's just a white and a pinky colour piece being added into here, and when that's been felted through, it's just been done really gently, because you don't want to go right through to the back for these. You just want to keep that extra colour really within the top layer. You don't want to be stabbing right through into the foam, because you don't want it coming out on the back of that piece. And remember, leave that extra tufty bit on the bottom, because that's what we're going to use to be able to attach them to the head. So there's your first one. The chest and the face one we've already done, because they've already been kind of used here and here. And the front feet, we want big long sausages. Now I've made mine quite chunky. You can make yours a little skinnier if you want. And you'll notice for these ones, I've started adding the stripes, because especially on the kind of appendages, if you want to get stripes that go all of the way round, then you'll need to start adding the stripes at this point. What I would probably advise is not going quite as far up as I have with this one, because then you're going to have to match it to the body, and that stripe will kind of disappear as you start adding it in. But for stripes where you want them to go all the way around, this is the point to add them. And to add the stripes on, you're just going to take small pieces of wool, and you're going to just twist them within your fingers to almost create a yarn type effect, and then from that you'll be able to lay them on. Actually, do you know what, I'll fill in that little gap that I've got on the back there. You'll be able to lay them on. Use your little pad for this, because you don't want to be holding this anywhere near where your fingers are going to be, and then just stab them in place to create some of your little stripes. But stay well clear of the bit that's going to be attached to the actual body, because that you're going to need to secure to the body before you add any further decoration to that. So let me just snip off these excess bits and then felt those ends in so they become invisible. This is the beauty of felting, is that you can chop and change and add something new, and change things as you go. So add your stripes on as you go. So we've got two little legs there. Now you'll notice on the pattern the leg is straight, but on here I've actually got a little foot on it, and I'll show you how you can create that little foot. So your leg will normally come out as a sausage, just like that, dead straight, but with no foot on it. To add the foot, we're going to bend it up, and while I'm holding that in place, I'm going to stab down from the top through into the base. And once I've done a few times that way, I'll take it off and I'll go back through the other way. Nice and gently though, and keeping my fingers well away from that needle, and keep repeating that, stabbing one into the other to create that little kind of L shape, which will then put a paw on the end of your foot. So we've got two of those with stripes and paws, and now we're going to do the back legs. So for the back legs, you're going to need to create two kind of circles or ovals and two sausages. Now, when you create these, please make sure that when you attach them together, they go in opposite directions, because if you've got two going the same direction, you're going to end up with a very strange looking cat with one leg going one way and one going the other. So when you do these, you create that little kind of round piece first. Once you've got that all sorted, you're going to just join those two pieces together, same way as we've joined everything else, just felt them together, stabbing through and joining those two shapes that you've created to make the one shape. Then you can go back in with your stripes and add those on, but most importantly, remember to make sure you've got two opposite facing legs. I'm actually going to just put this one together a bit more because that one's longer than the other. So I'll just add a few little stabs into there just to join that a bit more, and now I've got two legs which are much more similar in size. Now, oh, nearly forgot, tail, vital piece. So that's another sausage. It's a great big long sausage, this one, but nice and thin, and with the stripes added onto it as well. Nice tufty bit at the back, which will make it really easy to join to the body. So next step is to start adding these pieces on. So I like to start with the face because I think that's the kind of main feature of it. So we'll start there, and we'll start by adding the ears. So first of all, just kind of put them on, hold them in place, move it around, make sure you're happy with the location of it, make sure you think it, it gives you the expression that you want, and then try maybe a dozen stabs in the back of there, just to hold it in position so you've got the first one in place, and you can just see where you're looking at to add in that second one. So I'm happy enough with that. We'll put a few stabs in to hold that one in place. So see, that one's now actually started to tilt back a little bit. So if I want to remove that and change it, I can just pull it off to separate it, move it back to where I want it, be a bit more careful this time, and then stab that into place. There you go. And again, I think that needs to come down a little bit, so I'll just keep stabbing at it, and I'm going to stab a few in from the front there, just to tie in some of those fibres into the main part of the head there. There you go, that's getting better. And you'll continue stabbing just to make sure that all of this is held in place. There you go. So that's how he's starting out. He's got his little ears attached. Next thing we're going to have a look at is the nose and the face. So you should have a piece of this kind of peachy coloured wool, and it does give you a nose shape on the template. Now you can go straight onto the wool if you wish, or you can create that little nose shape first. So we'll give it a little go. Well, I mean, at least felt it down a bit so it's a little bit more dense before we add it on. So that's close enough, and then we can add that in, and we can still move fibres around to be able to kind of create the shape that we want for this. And also, if we've got a bit too much, we can just trim those excess ones off. We want a little kind of triangle shape for the nose, so I'm just pushing these fibres into place, and these extra ones that I've got on the bottom, that's fine. I'm going to twist those up and we'll make them into the little mouth shape. So I'll twist those round, stab those in, make sure I've got them as a nice crisp line at the bottom here. Maybe need take that shape out a little bit just to create more of a triangle on the nose. And then I'm going to cut this off and then bring another piece in to do the mouth shape. So from there, get that nice and secure. And if I want to narrow it down, if I just come in from each side and just tidy it up a little bit, you'll see it starting to kind of narrow in and become a little bit less wide there. And then finally we'll add that kind of little smile onto him. So I'm going to take just a really small piece, twist it within my fingers to create a yarn, very similar to the way we talked about the stripes. And then we're going to add it into the centre. Oh, it's like a little moustache now. Oh, very distinguished. And then twist these round and then stab them in to create that little expression, that little smile on his face. And I'm obviously having to do all of the steps in one go here. I would recommend you spend a little bit more time and get exactly the expression that you want on him. So once I've got enough in there, and I would spend a bit more time making these lines a little bit thinner, I can take off the excess from both sides and then get those stabbed right the way in so that it's just quite a fine line that we've got going on there and it's not too bulky. But if I just show you there, it does need a bit more stabbing in, but you can see the expression coming on there now. So from here, where do we go next? We've got the head and the face just about sorted. So we now need to start adding on some legs. So first piece that we need to add on is with the back legs, because this will help you stand it up and this will help you work out where the position of the rest of it needs to go. So when you create the legs, remember, create two. I'm just going to get rid of the piece of pink fluff. Create two opposite ones, because otherwise you'll have one leg going out the back and one leg going forwards. And we're going to put these right down at the bottom here, and probably even a little bit further back. Let me pop the other side on for you. So there you go, right at the bottom, right at the back. And there's nothing wrong with changing the position at this point, because remember, we're going to be adding those front legs on, and you're wanting to create that sitting posture. So if you've got him right the way up like that, his arms are going to be sitting out like that. So we actually just want to just tilt that body forward a little bit, kind of, you know, put the legs there, hold them in just to check that you're kind of on the right lines, and then get these stabbed into place. So I'm going to just hold them both. Now, if I've already put stripes on this, I'm going to try and stay mainly to those grayer areas, because they will blend in with the fibres underneath, and I don't really want to felt my stripes anymore, because I don't want to reduce them. So go in this gap. I mean, I'll show you, if you do want to go along them, it's not going to be the end of the world. It just means that your stripe will probably thin out just a little bit. So once that side's attached, we'll just give them a little check, and then I'll do it this way around so you can see. Just check that other leg. Now from here I can see this one sticking out further than the other, so I'm just going to pop that back a little bit so they're more in line, and then we're going to add that one in. And again, remember to mind your fingers with this, because that needle is super sharp. So we're underway. We've started out there. He's almost freestanding. We just now need to add the legs. So we've got two legs to add on to the front, and you just want to kind of play about with position until you're happy with how it's looking and happy with the kind of shapes that you've got there. So I'm happy enough with that. I'm going to go for one leg at a time, because it's quite hard to hold them all in position. So I'm going to take this one away and then stab this one into place. And spend a little bit of time, make sure you've got all of these fluffy bits kind of nice and flat within the cat. You don't want to be leaving lots of fluffy bits, because the next step after this is to start adding some stripes, and you need that all nice and flat to be able to do that properly. So that's first leg in. I'm happy, he's looking pretty good, he's sitting pretty nicely. I might just move that in a little bit, and to do that I'll just need to kind of felt this across a little bit more and get a better attachment on the front of the body there, and that will help to swivel that round. And then my second one is going to go on to this side. Let me just pull it down a bit so he actually is hitting the floor, and then a few stabs in to get that one in place. But we're doing this really, really quickly, but do spend a lot of time making sure that when you stab these together, you've got a good solid base to them. So let's just pop him down. Oh, I might have gone a little bit too short on that one. Let me just pull it down a bit, because I've only put like a dozen stabs in there. I've still got that little bit of movement, so I can make these adjustments. There you go. He's better now. Perfect. So last thing we need to add on in terms of appendages is the tail. Oh, that was a big word. I love it. And that goes on the back, obviously, and you just hold it in place, and exactly the same process again. So hold that in place, use that tufted bit that you've left there just to get that all secured. That doesn't, and then check it. And now if you want yours tail to go down to the side or come straight up the back or go, you know, tucked around by the feet, that's fine. You can move that, you can change that, you can, you know, take it on, take it off, put it wherever you want. So the structure is there now. You've got your cat, and it's just a case of decoration. So you can add just black stripes. If you've got any white fleece left, then you can add that in as well if you want. And you're just literally going to be taking pieces, twisting them into a yarn, and then this is on the top of the leg, and I'm going to continue that stripe up. Oh, and maybe make it go up the back of his head, look. And then place it where you want. Gently stab it in place just to get an idea of where you want it to go. I might do another one coming from the other side, and then maybe one coming down his forehead. So let's have that one there. There you go. And it's entirely up to you where you put these stripes. Maybe you've got a cat of your own and you want to kind of mimic the stripes that they've got on them. Maybe you just want to completely go freestyle. It's entirely up to you. But as many or as few as you want on here. It's purely kind of decorative at this point. You'll have all your structure there. Your cat's just about done. And you're just finishing off with those last little finishing touches. I think I might want another one on his face. Yeah, coming this way. And this one is kind of personal preference, and take as long over this as you want. This is your cat, it's your design. But what I would definitely recommend is maybe go and have a look on the internet, get a few kind of inspirations, have a look at how the stripes form naturally on cats, and then you are almost done.